don't know if those are mug shots or not of you guys, but
they're glamour shots is what they are.
We cropped out our number when we were
I
holding.
understand. Help Monday with Jared and Jacob this morning from Marble City Pharmacy. And how you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Good weekend, I hope.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
You know, seasons are changing, and that means changes too, and flu season on the way.
Flu season's here. We're ready to talk
Already.
about it today. Yeah, it won't be much longer before people are getting sick, unfortunately.
Let's talk about it this morning, and something we deal with every year, and sometimes it can be certainly difficult for a lot of people.
Sure.
You know, we get the question, hey, will there be a flu epidemic this year? Well, the answer is yes. And the reason is we don't call it a flu epidemic every year. We call it flu season. But every single year in the United States, we have what is technically a flu epidemic. So it's here. You know, it's time, and it will be an epidemic again this year, like every year.
Yeah, is there a peak season for flu and stuff? Or?
There's a peak season. Last year, it was most severe in January and February, but generally in the U.S., the flu season peaks between December and February. Sure does.
Yeah, and how many people, Jared, Jacob, can this affect?
Well, it's not a mandatory reportable disease, is what they say. So every doctor that sees a case of the flu doesn't have to report it to the government. However, so we can extrapolate data, we know that millions, literally millions, that's not a guess, millions of people in the U.S. will get the flu every single year. Millions.
And it can affect individuals different ways.
Oh, sure, it can. Some people, particularly healthy people, say in their 20s, 30s, they can get the flu and it not be very severe at all. The problem comes when children less than 5, persons over age 65, and then people who have chronic diseases get the flu. And so for a 20 or 30-year-old who knows that they won't be very sick, sometimes they don't want to get the flu shot, forgetting that they can take it and pass it to those people who really are going to have real problems with it.
Who needs to get a flu shot or consider getting a flu shot?
Yes. CDC says 6 months of old and older. So if you're alive, which means you're not over this side of the edge yet, and you're 6 months or over, yes, you need to get a flu shot. Now, again, there are stronger recommendations for those he mentioned. Less than 5. Over 65, have a chronic illness, or have other immune diseases that prevent them from being able to fight off infection. Those need it more. But yes, every single alive human from 6 months to still on this earth is recommended to get a flu shot.
How effective are the vaccines, really?
Well, last year the vaccine was 40% effective. And that may, to you, I don't know, some people say, well, it's only 40% effective, I shouldn't get that. That's a mistake. The flu vaccine can protect or lessen the course of illness, even if strains are circulating that are not in that particular year's vaccine. So just because it was 40% effective, and maybe it didn't cover every single strain specifically that was out there, it does lessen the chance of disease, and most importantly, lessens the chance of hospitalization and death, even in those persons that with different strains.
Jacob, I heard this, and I'm sure y'all have. Hey, I took a flu shot and got the flu.
Yes and no. The first thing you'll hear, I took the flu shot and it gave me the flu.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the course of human history, I can tell you exactly how many times that has happened. 0.
Pretty much.
Right. The flu shot cannot, not does not, cannot give you the flu. However, you can take the flu shot and still get the flu. Just like we said, let's say it's 50% active in most years. Okay, then you have a chance of still getting the flu. Let's say you get the flu shot and get the flu the next day. There's a reason. It takes 2 weeks for it to be effective. And so you can get the flu shot and turn right around and get the flu and think, well, the flu shot just gave me the flu. No, it hasn't had time to work yet. So the flu shot will not give you the flu, but it is not 100% going to keep you from getting it. So people might say, well, I got the flu shot and still got the flu. That is possible. But again, we've significantly lessened your chances of being hospitalized or even worse, dying from the flu and or passing it along to those that are very susceptible to it.
So is it flu season now?
We're getting there. Last year, we already mentioned that it peaked in January and February, but it began to be most severe in November. That is later than some years. A lot of years, flu season starts in October. It can last to as long as April or May. If you remember, in Sylacauga specifically last year, we had flu before September was even out. So the question of when should I get my flu shot, the answer is absolutely right now. So if it takes 2 weeks for the flu shot to be effective, and today is what, sometime in the middle of September.
The 9th.
Yeah, it's the 10th, but anyway. Good
10th.
try.
10th. Is it the 10th? I knew that.
If today's September the 10th and the flu shot takes 2 weeks to work, you need to get it very soon in order to be prepared for October when
Now,
flu
y'all
season
provide
starts.
the flu shots, right?
Absolutely.
Thought you'd never ask.
Don't you never? What a great question, Jimmy. No, we do, and although I'm sure we'll circle back around to this, I'll say it now just to make sure we get it in. No, it doesn't require an appointment. No, you don't have to go to your doctor and get a prescription written for it. No, you come in the store and we can provide you with a flu shot.
What are some of the symptoms of flu?
Yeah, a lot of times flu has some similar symptoms to a cold. For example, a person has sore throat, coughing, runny nose, nasal congestion. One of the major differentiations, though, between those symptoms that are common in a cold and the flu are body aches and fatigue. That's one of the main differentiating symptoms. And you guys who've had the flu, you know this. Sometimes that can be really debilitating. And it differs from person to person. There are people with the flu that still feel like getting up and doing things, but there are a lot of people that have the flu that literally are confined to the bed for a week or more.
How do we protect ourselves?
Step 1, get the flu shot. Step 2.
Step 1.
Yeah, step 1, get the flu shot. That's the most important thing we can do to really cut down. Now, step 2, we start with simple common sense things. 1, if you have symptoms of the flu, stay at the house. Don't go to work and school, church, give it to everyone else. Don't go hang out at Walmart and touch all the buggies. Stay home when you have symptoms of the flu. Next, this is a simple one, crazy thing, wash your hands. And then don't put your hands all over your face all the time. I get on my kids about this, something awful. Kids, get your hands out of your face, your eyes, your mouth. Keep your hands out of your face when we're out in public. And that's how we spread germs so easily. So, okay, get the flu shot. Don't go out when you have symptoms and spread it to everybody else. Wash your hands. Again, use common sense in these things. Stay away from people that you know have it. Isolate it as best as you can. Use common sense on most of this, and we can do a pretty good job of cutting down numbers.
I guess, Jared, that the younger and the older generation would be more susceptible to challenges from the flu.
They are. The older you get, well, first of all, the older you get, the more health problems you have. The older you get, the more medications you have. The older you get, the weaker your immune system gets. Those things are barriers for you being able to fight the flu. The younger, same thing. In the youngest kids, their immune systems aren't developed enough to fight against the flu. And then you have people in between those ages. You say, well, what about the age 5 to 65? You didn't name those people. Well, that's right. But if you're age 5 to 65 and you have heart disease, diabetes, some sort of lung disease, any kind of chronic condition, those things make it to where you're going to have a very difficult time with the flu. You're going to have complications, and those are the people with those conditions that get hospitalized the most. So very, very serious in those people as well.
And Jacob, it can actually, complications can cause death.
Every year, we said earlier, every year in the United States, millions, literally millions of people will get the flu. Where we didn't answer the next two is every single year, hundreds of thousands, literally, of people will be hospitalized with the flu. And here's the big one. Tens of thousands, estimates as high as 56,000 some years, will die from the flu. In the United States, up to 56,000 people will die each year from the flu. Last year, 180 children in the United States died.
I wonder if studies have been done comparing those who took the flu shot and didn't take the flu shot.
It's like you're reading our mind. That's fantastic.
Genius.
That's scary too.
This is on the
you should quit now.
This is on the CDC website, plain as day. And today, by the way, when we link this video to our Facebook page today, we'll also link this webpage at the CDC. 180 kids last year died from the flu shot. 80
180.
died from the flu shot.
Hey.
Back up.
Hey. Rewind.
I didn't have enough
It's
caffeine
early.
this morning.
Yeah.
180 kids last year died from the flu. 80% of them did not have the flu shot. I cannot stress to you how important that is. 80% did not have the flu shot. You think there's a correlation there? Of course there is.
So it's a simple thing you do. You just come in, get the shot, and you're done.
Yes. There are certain people that come in that I tell them, I'll only give you your shot right in the middle of the forehead or something that hurts, or I use a really big rusty needle or something like that. Most people, it's a very normal, very short, very average needle that less than a bee sting, less than 10 seconds, we're done, you're out, nothing to it. And again, you're getting a much higher percentage at that point of not getting the flu, not getting a severe case if the strain changes and you do happen to get the flu, not passing it on to your loved ones who are going to end up being that statistic that's in the hospital because they're so immunocompromised or old or feeble already. We don't want to cause that.
Side effects from the flu shot?
Well, your arm's going to hurt the next day for sure. Every once in a while people say, "Oh, that really hurt." Well, everybody has different pain tolerance levels. Like Jacob said, honestly, it doesn't hurt. The next day, though, may have to work that arm out. It's going to be sore. Other than that, some people have a tad bit of a fever. That's basically it.
What are some, Jacob, some treatments that are available for the flu?
Most everybody is familiar with the term Tamiflu. That's our number one treatment for the flu. If you go to the doctor with the flu, you're going to get Tamiflu. That's number one by a 1,000,000% margin. Tamiflu is the answer. A couple of problems there. One, if you don't go to the doctor within the first 48 to 72 hours at the far outside to start that Tamiflu from when your symptoms appear, it doesn't really work that well. It's almost, you're not really doing a lot of good taking it. And so how many of us go to the doctor the second we feel bad? Most of us wait a few days, it doesn't go away, and then we go to the doctor. So it's tough to get in that window. So if you start feeling flu-type symptoms or have been exposed and know you start feeling something, going to the doctor. The quicker we start Tamiflu, the better it works. Second, in really bad years, and this is the scary part, in really bad years, sometimes Tamiflu gets used up, we get on back order, and we go a couple weeks without it, and we're in trouble at that point. And so, I would say, take the flu shot so we don't run out of Tamiflu. If you start feeling symptoms, go to the doctor as soon as possible so that we can get you that medicine as soon as possible, and then we can prioritize from there.
Two things. How late in the season is it recommended to take the flu shot? And secondly, because I took a flu shot late in the season last year, maybe I shouldn't have to take one this year.
Oh, great question. Thank you. First of all, it's never too late in the flu season to get the flu shot. If you forget for some reason, if you're scared and make up your mind later, which I don't recommend, but if for some reason you don't get it and January rolls around, it is not too late. Get your flu shot in January. Like we said, it'll take 2 weeks to work, but you'll be protected for the rest of the season. Secondly, if you got a flu shot late in the flu season, let's say you got it in January last year, you do need to be revaccinated. We haven't hit on this yet today, but there are 4 strains in the flu vaccine for this year. 2 of those strains are different than were in the vaccine last year. And so because of the difference in the viruses that are circulating, because of their ability to mutate and change, we have to revaccinate every year in order to have protection.
So I contract the flu. Haven't had my flu shot. I contract the flu. Any reason for me to go ahead and get a flu shot now since I've already had the flu?
Yes. You got more than likely one of multiple strains of the flu. There are dozens. We vaccinate every year with the 4, what we think were the 4 most common. But there are dozens of strains of the flu possible. They mutate constantly. You get the flu, you have had one of the strains, and your body will do its best to fight that off, and hopefully you'll be perfectly fine from that. But there are still multiple other strains out there that you could still potentially catch, and the flu shot will protect you from.
Some quick tips finally, if one contracts a flu, other than staying away from other people, what can be some things that can help them get through the process? Well,
but besides the Tamiflu, which is the most used antiviral medicine, there are a couple of others that are on the market. It just happens to be that that's the most commonly used one. That's a medicine that works specifically against the virus. There are all kinds of over-the-counter medicines that are helpful for symptoms. You have your Tylenol and ibuprofen for sore throat, ibuprofen specifically for body aches, or naproxen, for example. You got your medications for nasal congestion and for runny nose, and so on and so on. So there are all kinds of medications out there for symptoms that don't require a prescription.
So mom's tomato soup is not listed in that?
No, but I'm fine with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hey, you got to rehydrate somehow because dehydration is also a big factor with the flu. And so tomato soup works for that.
There you go. Finally this morning, seasons are changing. Beautiful gift shop inside the store.
Beautiful gift shop inside the store. In fact, Beth and Rachel, we have a new gift department employee. Rachel, she's going to be a fantastic compliment to Beth. She started just a couple of weeks ago. Just on Friday, they're changing out the decorations in the window. So come check that out. New gifts, new look, new everything.
You can get the flu shot today.
Get the flu shot, look at the gift department, look at us. We're good looking.
Could be a Browns fan. Thank you both for being with us this morning.
Thanks a lot.
Help Monday with Jared and Jacob here every second Monday of the month. We've got more daybreak just ahead.